Life gives us moments when we have the opportunity to make a choice. And what we choose has the potential to change our lives forever. Join us now for another inspired episode of The Breakthrough. And now, please welcome the creator and host of the show, Jessica Dugas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are so glad that you're here today. Get comfy and listen in. Today is Friday, August 9th, 2019, and this is Season 3, Episode 2 of The Breakthrough Show. It's the spiritual view for your soul and mind where we dig deep on today's spiritual hot topics and inspire you with the stories that change our lives. We appreciate you so very much for being here today, whether you are watching, whether you are listening on podcast, whether you're on live or on the replay. We would love for you on whatever platform you're on to hit that subscribe button, like button, follow button, love button, whatever buttons you can find. We want you to push them. And also, please share this episode with your family, friends, and colleagues so that more people can enjoy the show with us today. Now, if you are enjoying the show on another platform other than the Breakthrough Show page, what I would like for you to do is look for that little link in the description of the video and come on over to the Breakthrough page and listen with us here so that we can see your comments as the show goes on. All right. On today's show, we have an incredible guest, Juliette Stapleton, who is the queen of visibility. She is so amazing, you guys, and you are going to love her energy. In fact, when I was planning this season of The Breakthrough, I thought there cannot be anybody better to be our first guest on this season because she is always so high energy and so much fun. And I know that she is fired up about sharing with you all today about committing to your dreams in your life and also chiming in on our hot topic as well. Plus, coming up, as I mentioned, we're going to be saying hello to our panelists today, and we will jump into our hot topic. Please say hello if you are joining us today. Say hi in the comments if you're in the video portion of our show, and let us know where you're watching from so we can give you a shout out and say hello as well. First up, do you have a business that, like The Breakthrough Show, is committed to changing the world? Well, we would love to meet with you about becoming a Breakthrough Show partner or sponsor. Please send an email to jessica@thebreakthroughshow.com or send us a message on our Breakthrough Show Facebook page, and let's change the world together. All right? Okay, without further ado, I want to welcome our panelists today. First up on the show, we have our resident Virgo in the house. She's our declutter coach and consultant, helping us to stay grounded and organized and all of those things during our breakthrough moments. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Heather Clark.
Woo-hoo.
Hi, Heather.
Hello.
How was last week's premiere for you? Was it exciting?
It was exciting, and I'm like, wait, how did we already have season 3 start? Like, I'm still trying to figure out, but I also, the past week has been, let's just say it's been go for me with family up from the States and getting things done. So I was like, I went from the show to getting the kids to doing this, and I was like, go. And now I'm like, okay, I could breathe.
Yeah. Well, we've come to a different time if the Breakthrough Show is a deep breath for you. No high stress here today. We're relaxed today. We're relaxing. All right, guys, up next on the show, we have one of our new panelists coming on and joining us. He is our former Zen monk turned communication coach, and he is helping us in so many areas of our lives here on the show. Everybody, please welcome Allan Knight to the Breakthrough today. Hello, Allan. We are so glad that you're here. How are you doing today, my friend?
Well, finally, I'm okay because after last session, you practice what we preach. I had a breakthrough. I went into a deep state of depression after the first show because I was so overwhelmed by the quality of the people, and I felt so low that I had to go through about 10 hours of therapy. But finally, I made the breakthrough, and I'm back on track.
Very good. Very good. We like it when our breakthrough participants have more breakthroughs. That's a good thing.
There was a multitude of breakthroughs, I'll tell you that.
Well, I know you've done shows and stuff before, Allan. What was kind of new and different for you coming on last week with so many other people on sharing the stage with you, so to speak?
Well, I think the thing that really comes to my mind is I love your concept because I've had my own podcast. I've been interviewed. So there's a lot of one-to-one interviews. Sometimes there's people just discussing a topic forever. But here, I like the combination of the fact that the panelists get a chance to ask the guest a lot of good questions. So the guest gets featured and the panelists get an opportunity to share their wisdom. So the combination of your concept, I really like.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I feel so uplifted now. See, this is why we're relaxing today. It's a great day. Thanks for being here with us today, Allan. Up next on the show, we've got our juicy girl and Jane of all things. She is a soul purpose coach, helping us again with the grounding, helping us to be grounded. And she has, by the way, a really great 10-minute vacay meditation that if you guys don't have that, you need to go check that out as well. So we'll make sure to put a link in the description. Please welcome Tarah Abram to the show today.
Hey.
It hasn't been a crazy week with the 8-8 yesterday in the spiritual world. That's all anybody's talking about is Lionsgate 8-8, crazy energy. Has it been that way for you as well?
It's been very interesting. I can say that for sure. It's been very, very interesting.
Very interesting. Absolutely. And so last week we had our season premiere of the show and you've been on from the get-go like Heather has been. Could you feel that energy in our premiere last week of how this season's going to be?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. It was great to get everybody together and have the first live. It was awesome.
Awesome. Yay. Well, we're so glad to have you, all three of you, on as panelists today. And I want to dig into our hot topic. So today we are talking about motivation. How can we be motivated when we're not feeling it? If we have a business, is it necessary that we're motivated all the time? Now, I heard something a while back, or somebody said this and it got my wheels spinning. So I'd love for you guys to chime in on this. They said, if you have to get motivated, then you're obviously doing something that you shouldn't be doing. But I have to kind of argue that a little bit because do we always do things? Are we always doing something that we absolutely love doing? Or are there some things that we have to do and we kind of got to build ourselves up for that? What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I'm not always motivated to do all the things to do with the business. Am I motivated about what I do for my business? Absolutely. But when somebody says something like that, like, oh, well, if you're not motivated, then it's not what you should be doing. Forget that. I'm not always motivated. Do you always want to wake up in the morning? No, but you still
Well, I want to wake up, but maybe not necessarily so early. Like my children that set alarms for me at 5 o'clock. We're not.
Okay, then let's rephrase that. Do you always want to get out of bed in the morning?
There you go. There you go.
No.
Well, I think the thing that I have a problem with some of these generalities is they're too vague. It's more specific than that. Like motivation for me is I want to be motivated because I do what I love to do. I've been doing what I do for 25 years. I wouldn't have done it for 25 years unless there was a high degree of motivation. Right. But the motivation doesn't have to be there all the time. What's more important is you take the motivation in action on a consistent basis. Presumably you're taking actions with something that motivates you. If it doesn't, then maybe you should do something else.
I think oftentimes I think of motivation as like high energy. And so when I think about being a Zen monk and being motivated, I'm like, how does a Zen monk get motivated? I just don't what was that like for you? When you were
We had dances every night. We had parties every night. That is why when I think of motivation, Jessica, you're so cute. When I think of motivation is one facet of what I can call self-mastery. The goal to become enlightened, which was my goal when I first became a monk, and I lived as a monk for 9 years, was not to be motivated, it was to get enlightened. Along the road, I realized motivation is part of self-mastery, action is part, discipline, communication, all of those things are part of overall self-mastery, because if we're feeling free and we're feeling unconditional love most of the time, then We're going to be motivated. And when we're not motivated, by the way, that's a great opportunity to pick ourselves up by the bootstraps and get back on track. That's self-mastery.
Well, I think it's also a good, like bringing to that point is it's good to step back a bit too. Like, because you can't always be into that action. You can't always be into that. Like this week alone, I unplanned stepped back because family was visiting. And so I thought, okay, I was motivated to do certain things, but I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to, be with the family and stuff like that. But it's stepping back and knowing that, okay, you don't always have to be motivated all the time, but you do have to take action.
Exactly.
Because having a business, you're not gonna have a business if there's no action involved.
Yeah. At what point, Tarah, do you think we have to, like, if we have a business and we're going along and every day we're kind of waking up and not feeling motivated about not just the tasks, but really the whole picture. At what point do we have to say, either let's get motivated, or maybe there's something to that. Maybe I should reconsider what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with like your desires, your wants, your why is what kind of drives your focus with motivation. I don't know, for me anyways, like if I have a goal, I'm not going to work towards it if I'm not motivated to do so. And so, kind of into what Allan's saying, you got to look there. Now, am I motivated to like do the dishes all the time? Not necessarily, right? But that's a different kind of conversation. I'm motivated because I want it clean.
I wrote down in my notes. I wrote that in my notes. Dishes. Motivated? ?
Like I'm motivated because I want the end result of it being clean, but I'm not really overly motivated. You know how many times I've done the dishes over the last like 30 some years?
Yeah. What do you think, Allan?
I'll go one step further. When people ask me, what are the most important parts of my own development? I actually make reference to the fact that the challenges and the obstacles and my difficulties have been much more important than just raw motivation. Right. Because it's in those times that I had to dig deep and bring character and resilience out of me. And by doing that, I was able to stay motivated more of the time. The obstacles and the challenge are true tests. Because if we take action, we're talking today about motivation and goals, but some people are running. There's no self-mastery. There's no acceptance. There's no acceptance with who they are. We could get too obsessed with our goals. Mm-hmm. So the self-mastery and dealing with obstacles and picking ourselves up is critical to me.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this before, Allan, with the, the seminars and things like that we go to, how a lot of it is really just, building us up and getting us excited and motivation. But what about all of like the day-to-day processes? Like, how important is it that we pay attention to those things and pay attention to the details and the things that we have to do each day, rather than just the getting pumped up? Well, what are we getting pumped up for?
Well, that's part of the I don't want to hog the time here, but that's part of the reason that I view training more like getting in the gymnasium and making it practical. Because if we just get pumped up, we're looking to the speaker and the trainer. But if we learn to go into the inner gymnasium and pick ourselves up on an ongoing basis through inner fitness exercises, then we achieve true self-mastery, which is not dependent on outside raw motivation.
I love that. I love that. So many good thoughts today, guys. And I want to say hi to everybody that's been joining us in the comments of the video. We have Genevieve here. We have Tig here. We have Siri. We have Jeremy. Lots of amazing people in our audience today. Thank you guys for joining us and for chiming in on your thoughts on motivation. And please keep them coming. Keep them coming in the comments even after the show's over and on the replay. Give us a hashtag replay and we'll come back and interact with you there in the comments. So I want to jump over and introduce our guest today, who is completely amazing. She always, speaking of motivation, she always motivates me when I see her go live, because she has that high energy and it's sort of contagious. It's contagious. And it's like, well, she's high energy. I need to get my butt moving here. So I want to welcome today our guest. So First of all, our guest today is Juliette Stapleton. She is known as the Queen of Visibility. Juliette is a thought leader, author, and host of her own show called Show Up, Stand Out. How many of you guys have ever seen that show before? It's an amazing show. And Juliette has been guiding people around the world to be more visible in their lives and in their business. She's your go-to visibility strategist for building an impactful presence using Facebook, both organically and fearlessly. Everybody please hit the heart button and say hello to our friend Juliette today.
Hey guys,
Yes.
Thank you so much. Such a lovely introduction and such a great topic. I just couldn't wait to come here to my 2 cents and I loved what Allan said. I'm so on the same page as well, about motivation and putting effort and dragging yourself up. Great subject.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about, we'd love for you to chime in on a little bit. Do you ever have days where you are not feeling motivated? You always come across so high vibe, high energy on the screen. Do you ever before that go, oh my gosh, I really just don't even want to be doing this right now?
Like almost every time. There's a secret, guys. So they call me the Queen of Visibility. How did that happen? Because of what you're saying, I do my live videos, I have the high energy, just pours out of me. Do I feel like this? I'm an introvert. I like being on my own in a dark room. I'm not like someone who is constantly giving this energy to other people or anything, but this is something like this is an outlet, but we are not machines. We are not programmed to constantly be giving energy anyway, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or whatever you are, because it's a normal thing. I think it's like everything on this planet, more or less every living creature has periods where we take rest and we contract, and then there's periods where we expand and we're full of life and full of action. And in our lives, and there's some cosmic forces or inner growth stages or whichever you like tapping in, to explain this, but we have stages where we go within and we cannot take a lot of action. We need to allow these periods where we go within to pass through us, so, and of course, if we're building, my whole thing is build your business by becoming more visible to those people who need you. And of course, you have to. There is this element, what Heather said, if you don't take action in business, you will have no business. So you have that hat on you, that you're saying, yeah, okay, well, I am a business person, but I'm also a person. So finding that balance and not actually overwhelming yourself by pushing yourself and guilting yourself into, constantly be doing things, it's very, very important. But then in terms of visibility and as a visibility strategist, there are so many strategies and tips and tricks to become invisible if you need it without anybody noticing. So right. I can stay visible. Like, for example, this summer, and I'm very transparent about, I call them periods of hiding. I was hiding like crazy this summer, especially July. July was a weird period. We had all these eclipses and, Mercury went retrograde. I always kind of go into revisit everything. And so probably for about 6 weeks, I just couldn't do what I sort of preach doing. I wanted to do daily live video. I just couldn't. I didn't have that energy. I'll do 1 or 2 and then I fall off the wagon. And it's important not to guilt yourself when you're feeling like this, because there are ways, and especially now on Facebook, we have watch parties we can run of our previous videos, right? We have, if you're writing posts, long storytelling posts, save them. I have a whole Trello board full of different posts I've written over the last 2 years, and I can just repost them. People don't remember that it was word by word the same thing you posted 6 months ago. Right. These kind of things really keep you going. And there's so many strategies that you don't have to constantly come up with new things. You can actually tap into what you already spoke about or what you wrote. I had a writer's block for the last about 6 weeks, and before that I was published everywhere, and I just can't write. Well, that means I need to go through, a certain upgrade. It's an inner kind of invisible work that's going on. And, I have a membership group where I see people going through exactly the same periods at exactly the same periods. That's why I always say that it's like some sort of cosmic forces at this moment. Maybe we are all kind of going through something. And I always say to them, don't get overwhelmed. You need to allow yourself. And decommitting from something is the most important strategy in your life. If you feel like you're overwhelmed, if you feel like you're pushing, like trying to go through the wall, just have a look what you actually can decommit from. And that motivates you in itself. The best thing to motivate you to do something is actually saying no to something that you don't feel aligned with, but you feel like maybe you have to do. And you say, no, you know what? I am not doing it today or ever. In fact,
I want to dig into this a little bit, especially through talking about your story, Juliette, because you're talking about decommitting to things, and we're going to share today about committing to things. So it's nice to actually hear you talking about decommitting, because I think that as we go through your story, you know, the hot topic really does. This happens every season where I pick a hot topic and it ties into the main topic, and I had zero intention of that. So I'm really glad that we've gotten to talk about this, because I think sometimes people can get afraid when they commit to something, thinking, well, if I commit, I'm not going to be able to decommit. I'm not going to ever be able to let go. So I want to dig into this a little bit. Juliette, if you'll start, I want to dig into your story a little. So let's share with us about what was going on in your life at the time, but before you had sort of gotten committed to things and decided, this is what I want to do with my life, and I'm going to go in 100%.
Well, I probably need to mention that when I was turning 40, and it was the 3rd of September in 2016, I was turning 40, and I knew on that day, I said, I'm saying goodbye to my 30s, and I'm starting a new era in my life. Something's going to happen. That was probably 8 months before anything happened, but it was that knowledge, you know, I just knew deep down. I was really, truly, I don't care about birthdays normally, but I really celebrated that one. You know, it was really, I felt the, flutters, something's happening. And then obviously when you have that calling, you start looking out and seeing like, where's the opportunity? And the opportunity came to me a little bit later. Now, just a backstory, I had been running my business already for about 6 years. I was providing digital marketing services to local businesses. I was always behind the scenes with these businesses, we're working with, but I was kind of like, I was working with people who didn't understand what we're doing and why they need to do it. And when you're trying to convince somebody that they need to do it, it's never really a good strategy to get a good client. So I was like a magnet for wrong clients, and actually attracting bad people in my life. It was awful because I felt so disempowered, and it's law of attraction. I got more reasons to feel like this, and feeling like constantly bullied, constantly out of control, really vulnerable. All my clients came through word of mouth, so I didn't know how to prospect. I was so afraid that one of them will leave and stop paying me the pennies they were paying me, and then what am I going to do? And this is like living in fear and constantly like feeling in this mindset of lack. And, something had to happen, and I remember around 2013, I did say to myself, hang on a second, you're not a negative person. I have always been forward-thinking, positive person, through my teenage years, through my early 20s. I came to Ireland on the bus 8 months pregnant on my own, just to kind of, so I can stay here. I can take action. I can take action. We're not going to go into that story, but I'm just saying I can take action. But when you're telling yourself all the time that you're living in fear and you're disempowered, and that's what you're getting, and I decided that I had to change. So it took about, from 2013, slowly but surely getting back into forward thinking again, and thinking about, how can you make things better? How can you attract things and not focus on negativity? But in 2017, I realized, and I had this feeling like something to do with video is going to make a difference to me, I said. And all of a sudden, because I manifested myself a live video challenge. And I started that live video challenge. And what happens there, my dreams come true, guys. I'm like an expert in manifesting dreams. I met my other half, who I was looking for from the age of 3 years old. He was a foreigner. I had to go and fetch him. I did all that, right? That's what the story with the bus in Ireland and everything. But I did. And so I manifested that. I went, I live abroad from where I am. I'm from Estonia originally. And I know how the dreams happen. I know the energy. I know how, when you make this decision, what happens when you see this opportunity, what happens, then something happens that you don't expect, but it's all meant to be. today is one of those days for me. I'm currently in the process of manifesting another huge dream. I'm just saying. But yeah, so what happened there is I started this, manifesting my dream, but life then throws this earthquake at you, because your status quo, your situation has to change. So the plateau is like an earthquake where the plateaus in the earth have to shift. So you have the new life, the new state of being. And that shift for me was something I wouldn't wish to anybody, because on the day 4 of that life video challenge, my husband, who's been a little bit unwell and kind of started getting more unwell, and he got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And he basically, like at that stage, he couldn't even walk. And it was 3 weeks before our wedding. We had a really, really long engagement. 3 weeks before our wedding, it was real, like a kick in the guts. You're like, you don't know what's going to happen. And I remember driving back home, and he had to stay in the hospital. Hospital was 2 hours away drive from the house as well. I wasn't even really a good driver. He drives me around. So it was kind of like a shock to the system, to the core. And I remember when I came home the next day, and I said to myself, okay, is it about me? Because you always have to ask, is it about you? What's happening? If it's about you, you can try and look for the answers within. But it wasn't about me. It was my husband's story, and it was my husband's battle. So I couldn't have no control over that. So I said, okay, so what can I do? And I decided at that moment that this was the time to change. This was the time to take control, not be like a glorified employee working with people, but actually take control, build a business that will be impactful, build a business that will make a true difference in other people's lives, because I always felt like this was something that I'm born to do. And also create for us, in terms of like your personal why, create this life of our dreams, which is location free. We had a whole list of things that we love and we don't have here. So our context of life is not really like what we want or what we consider dream life. So I just said, I'm doing this. I'm going to build this life within 5 to 10 years. And then when he, remembers that chemotherapy and all that, like a bad dream he had once, that's the point I'm going to focus on. So even though I didn't know if I'm going to have a husband in 3 weeks. And you know what? I think that when you commit to like full-heartedly, doesn't matter. You don't need to know how. You don't need to collect all the facts before you start doing it, but just start doing it. And that's exactly what I finished my 30 days life video challenge. I said, okay, this is it. I'm starting the online business. I did a little mini course. It was a confidence building course. And at the end of the day, I still sell confidence, I think, with everything I do. But then it sort of all came into, I had so much experience working with Facebook, working with those businesses, and I put it all into doing it, but I didn't do it the right way. I did it my way, which was take your personal profile, the scariest place to be visible and connect to people. And I had my show. I started connecting to people who were, a little bit ahead of me. I created relationships. I started talking to strangers, which is the scariest thing to do. Send somebody you don't know a message and talk to them. And it's not awkward. For me, I'm an introvert. It's hard to do, but if I did it, anybody can do it. So
I want to I know that Heather, in the work that she does as well, will often tell people just get started, just get started and do it. And it's not easy when you're going from a place of, you're maybe you are an introvert, maybe whatever you need to do, maybe the things that you need to commit to are out of your comfort zone. And so Heather, I know that that's something that you talk about in your work as well.
Yeah, and
the introvert thing. Oh, sorry, I thought, I didn't know if Heather is going to speak. The whole introvert thing is a big excuse we're all making. Mm-hmm. Yes, we're introverts. Yes, I have this call, I have another call after that. I'll be dead because my energy is going to be, I'll be like vegging on the couch at the end of the night. It's kind of late here in Ireland, but it's an excuse a lot of people make not to even do anything.
Well, yeah, I think they hide behind that. Like they want to use that as their excuse, as their motivation to not do it. I think there's also that too, as well as not wanting to do something. Oh, well, I'm just an introvert. Well, I have my introvert moments too. I'm very extrovert, but I have my moments too. But that still can't stop me from, like we said, if you want that business online, you need to have those clients that know about you.
I think a lot of people also just have this sort of weird, completely irrational idea of what it is to build a business, offline or online. They think that if they failed offline and they have no clients offline, that they will go online and all of a sudden everything will change. Like this is some sort of magic wand here, just being online. Whereas it's much more scary. It takes so much more effort, and you really need to organize your life so well so you're not getting overwhelmed, because it can, like Facebook alone can just take over your life, so it's like an addiction sometimes. You just wanted to see something, and 25 minutes later you're saying, what am I doing here? Newsfeed is like a swamp, but that happens. So you really need to have systems in place. You need to have strategies in place. You need to have a vision that what are you focusing on. You need to make sure you decommit from things that overwhelm you. You say no to commitments that even if you said to somebody, I'm going to do a show with you every week, and then next week you feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm up for it. Well, then say no. It's okay to say no. It's okay to take U-turns. I took about 3 or 4 times U-turns in my whole visibility journey, and that's the best thing I can do. And you know what? If tomorrow I decide that everything I was building and launching and everything doesn't serve me anymore, I'm going to take another U-turn and do something else.
Juliette, if I could jump in, Juliette, and ask you a question. When you talk about Facebook, and it sounds like your focus for visibility is a lot to do with Facebook, and you, even though you say you're an introvert, you don't sound like much of an introvert to us right now, but there are a lot of people that I've met, and I've gone through this myself to some degree, that have taken a lot of online courses, marketing courses, and it's one thing to have talent, it's another thing to take that information and then to really implement, because most people, including myself, get very overwhelmed. Now, maybe some people could do it really well, but in the old days of, let's say, Frank Sinatra, when people needed a platform like television and radio to do it, they didn't have to go do the production. They just showed up. And I don't see that happening here online. It's not as easy as showing up. If, let's say, you were taking people that had all this talent that's on this show here and said, we're gonna produce something and you guys get out there. It's not that easy. How do you then help people to manage some of the technical aspects that they have to be successful on Facebook?
Well, I have to honestly say that to show up on Facebook, you just need to click twice. New post, go live, maybe 3 times. That's all. You don't need to have any technology to show up. And this is what's, I think, because of what you said, because there's a lot of, especially with the, I'm 43 and I'm not a millennium. I call my clients and my students much older. I'm a baby. But I think we, and generation above me, we're used to this idea that you need to have some sort of production in order to show up, and you cannot show up without the production. I have a very simple system that I've 2 years ago I created, and the only thing that I produced so far is that I painted my wall white so it looks a bit better. So that's all I did. I still just have my computer, I just have some lights and very, very simple things. There's nothing there that can stop me. And technically, it's much more a fear of technology that actually stops us from doing things. You see, in 2019, everything that we're dealing with, all the apps, all technology is all user-oriented. That means that it's just as simplified as possible. In fact, someone like me who's used to working with computers, I hate mobile phones, I hate tablets. They're too simple and they're doing my head in because impossible for me to use it. I want a computer. But so everything is much more simplified. But I see this very clearly, especially with my clients, that this fear of technology stops them from even trying. And it's important to try. It's important to see, because, where overwhelm comes from with these things, overthinking and not doing.
But what happens, even if you get online and you press the button, and so you connect and you start to build, that doesn't necessarily automatically get you business or attract more business into your life. So
yes, it does. It does if you show up regularly. So showing up is not about just doing one video or posting one post. It's about a strategy. And of course, like everything in business, if you opened a restaurant and you just opened the door and you didn't go out, you didn't meet people, introduce them, gave them some tasters, some flyers, the customers wouldn't know that you're there. What if you were like on a side street somewhere? Customers don't know you opened a new business. You have to do this. So the same with Facebook. It was important, and this is exactly what I did, and this is what I teach people to do. You have to exercise consistency. So you don't need to do live video every day. That's overwhelming, to be honest with you. But you can do it once a week, and then you can write every other day, and maybe you can share a quote every other day. And every day, if you post at least once, which takes very little time when you just put time for that, and you organize that. You can also spend 30 minutes maybe, once a week, and just create all the posts and organize everything that you're going to be posting ahead. It's actually all comes down to planning, organizing. And I'm not like someone who is the best person at planning, and I do post and write when I'm inspired. But what I do is I repurpose the content. Sometimes somebody asks me to share a tip in a group. I share that tip, I look at that, what I've just written, I'll take it, I'll put it as a post, maybe I'll add something. I created a post out of it. And then I will also go live and I do a video on the same subject. And then I'll write a blog post, because I already have half of the thing written. I'll write a blog post. I'll repurpose that blog post on 3 or 4 online publications that do not require unique content, plus Facebook, LinkedIn, and the rest. And look how much my visibility from just like one comment. That's how much visibility I get. So of course you're not going to get business from one thing, but you're going to get business when you're consistent with that, provided you're also, you're not talking at people, but you're actually reaching out. So you see I call them unicorns. You see people who are getting a little bit more active. Reach out, say hi, build relationships in a private message. Don't necessarily straight away talk about business, because it's weird. It's like on the party, if we have somebody who straight away says, hey, I remember there's a marketer from Moolah Marketing, Rachel Miller, and she was telling a story of going to a party, and this guy he had a fridges business or something. He was selling fridges, and he literally walked behind her for half an hour telling her that he's going to give her 50% off if she's going to plug him in somewhere. And that's the worst thing on the party you can get. So Facebook is a party. We have to talk, but how much business, how many business deals do we close over dinners and, games of golf? That's how, so we create relationships. And then when a person is excited about what we're doing, that's why we're producing content. So they get a chance to watch us. They get a chance to actually resonate. We filter people with our content. Sometimes we put a little bit polarizing posts as well, just to filter the right ones from the wrong ones. And they come to you as well, but you have to make a lot of, you have to be visible on their posts. Now, it sounds like a lot of work, but you can do all of that in about half an hour a day. And half an hour a day.
I was just going to ask you about when you talked about consistency. There are some people who have businesses that might have 6 children. They might, Heather, are you okay?
I know that's not me. That's not my business. That's for sure.
They might have 6 children. Maybe they're dealing with an illness, maybe similar to maybe a loved one with an illness, similar to your situation. I'm sure that there were moments throughout your journey with your husband where maybe you planned on today being a consistent day, and something, maybe something wasn't right with therapy, or maybe, something happened, come up. Obviously, we all have lives outside of our business. So when something comes up, how do you suggest to people that they continue that consistency, maybe if they can't show up?
Well, it depends on how long you have to take a break, because if you're going to take a break for a month, you're starting from scratch. There's no way that you can, but if you're taking a break for a day or 2, just don't beat yourself up. On day 3, start as if nothing happened. Online world is a very noisy world, and they don't really notice straight away that you're not there. But if you're missing for a long period of time, there's going to be other people there who are not missing. And this brings me back to what Heather said before. If you're not taking action, you're not going to have a business. So if we're talking about business, these things are important. It's like I said, a restaurant, right? But what if I'm a bit under the weather and I don't go, and if I'm a chef and I just don't go and I don't cook for my customers, well, there's not going to be any business on that day. And we have to sometimes treat, and marketing, visibility is marketing. Marketing, when you're growing your business, when you want to get more clients, that has to be 80% of your efforts. in the growth stage. And this is the truth, 20% client delivery, 80%. So your priorities need to change. Yes, of course we can, with me, my husband was a little bit a different situation, maybe, but I know if I'm going to say it aloud, a lot of people are going to take this and use it as an excuse. My husband was in the hospital. He had a chemo that lasted 7 days at a time, and I had a lot of time. I wasn't sitting beside him. It just was impossible, so I had time, but it's not that I spent more time then than I'm spending now. It really is about just, you can't do too much either, because you can't be 24 hours producing. If you have no time in the day, you find that means that you have something in your schedule that needs a little bit better organization. And I'm going to say that as is, and if you find that during the day everybody distracts you, you will have to get up half an hour earlier before everybody else. That's the only way. And actually I did that, I get up at 5 o'clock, everybody's asleep. You have time. By the time they're up at whatever, 7, 8, you've done so much, you've already produced everything. Nobody distracted you. It's like, it's the best time for journaling. Journaling is great. Online, you can create content. It's almost like journaling. There's strategically what you're talking about and what you're not talking about, but there's so much that you can do when you're producing, especially when you're growing a personal brand, which is you're working with clients face to face. You are the face of the business, and you are growing your visibility as who you are. That's what I did. So I couldn't do that for a company as much. It's about me. It's about me taking stances. It's about me talking about what I believe in. It's about me, so it's kind of, you make it about you, obviously strategically, because a lot of people argue and they say, well, I'm a private person, what are you talking about? But I'm extremely private. There's things I say and there's things that nobody knows, and they don't need to know.
Juliette, could someone be equally successful, whether they don't have the time or they just they don't want to do it themselves, to hire someone, whether it's a social media management company or someone who knows your content well enough? Could you equally be successful by hiring someone to do that for you?
It's a great question. I personally believe no. If you're building a personal brand, it comes from you. It comes from your essence. Nobody can be you. You can hire people. They will create a very generic content. It could be very good. It could be very good, but will it be you? Will it actually attract you, your ideal client? An ideal client is so much more than just, a sheet we fill. It's heart-to-heart connection. It's like energy exchange. Right now, and for the last year and a half, I work only with people that I absolutely love and adore. And as I said, I was like a magnet to bullies, horrible people. Just, I felt so bad. And nobody could create content for me to attract people that I love. So, and I think it's the same, it's the same, even if you have a big business that is not necessarily you are on your own, or, I don't mean you're on your own, but you are representing the business, you're the face of the business, you can hire people. And of course, help it's great. But you see, you don't need to produce content every day, as I mentioned. You can create like once a week. You can sit down and write an article, or if you like talking, maybe you can even talk on to like have a podcast. Talk, and that could be repurposed so much that your team, where the team comes in, is that they can take that content that you produced from the heart and from you, who you are, and then they can slice it and repurpose it and, put it in a blog. And then, so this is the way that you can bring the team on board. But I still think, and, for me personally, I love working with people, in my business, but I also, I built my business around the life I wanted. A lot of people are building businesses and then they completely overwhelmed because they're not building the life they want. So for example, for me, working with clients one-on-one very, very soon showed me this is not the life I want, because even though I do have one-on-one clients, but I don't want to fill my calendar with them. There's just too much. My introvert nature can't give that much energy individually. I'm great in groups. And also what happens is, there's just too much. I can't go on holidays. They're all texting me. I can't go out with my husband on holiday, like having a coffee. This is the ultimate goal of everything I do, is that I go out with my husband, have a coffee anytime I want. This is why I do everything, and this is, if it's not possible, it's out of the way. So when I saw that it was not possible, I started focusing on one-to-many. I started focusing on group coaching. I started focusing on membership groups. So I have that flexibility. So it's so important to, and this comes again, decommitting and not being afraid. Yes, individual clients or one-on-one clients, they may maybe high ticket clients, but are you gonna, your freedom, is that more important to you than the money? You know, the money still comes when you allow it. So, you know, this is something, I don't even know what was the question now.
No, you were doing good, Julia. And I think when Allan was talking about, you know, could you hire someone to come in and do the social media stuff for you? And I think if I hear what you're saying correctly, that those initial, you know, that relationship building should be done by you. And once you have that content, you could absolutely bring somebody in to repurpose it for you, to create other things for you. And but that relationship building and those thoughts, that needs to be, you know, coming from you and where you're at. Julia, I think you've shared so many amazing things, and I would love for you, if you could give one thing to someone that says, I have a dream and I know I need to get started, but I don't really know how to put myself out there. What's one thing you would tell everybody today?
If it's to do with visibility,
yes.
If it's to do with visibility, you do need to just start. Don't overthink. Small steps will bring you closer to your dreams much faster than you expect, than if you're sitting there and overthinking and, you know, I don't know where to start. I'm sure there is so many, like somebody said to you, write a blog. Somebody said to you, post a picture. You know, right now, just right now, there's a big thing going on my personal profile. This is what I posted. Wow, 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 wow. 2 crowns and in the middle. Wow. Because I'm having a great day. I was coming to this show. There's big news came in my life, my personal life. You know, I'm gonna like, and I just felt, wow. And everybody is now sending me gifts and, you know, and they're like commenting on that because they want to know, why am I doing this? This is an engagement exercise. Tomorrow I'm going to write a long, like value-based post, maybe expert post, and so many more people will see it because I had so much engagement today. You know, start somewhere. And if you don't know where to start yourself, go to the groups where you like being, you know, Facebook groups that you like. Maybe it's not necessarily to do with your business. You know, when I started, I was part of Neurogym, John Assaraf, and, you know, just go there and comment. Be visible on other people's content. Start with that. That's actually part, and a big part in being visible is being visible on other people's content. Again, talking to a party, like about a party scenario. So we don't like the salespeople, but we also don't like the bores, you know, the kind of like a professor mode where they just talk and everybody's standing around them with blank faces and they just can't wait. For me, I just can't, you know, I tune out. Like I'm not detailed oriented. My husband and my daughter, they like explaining things. I kind of tune out after 2 seconds. So how many people tune out when you speak? Always think about it, you know? So tomorrow I'm going to have that kind of post, you know, have this engage. You have to kind of keep going. Just engage with people, and start with that, because that will inspire you. And keep an eye on what you are engaging, what you're saying. We often say something really meaningful in comments, and then we walk away and we forgot that we just created content. So take that content, you know. I'm going to give you a quick strategic tip.
Oh, here we go. Tip.
Okay. I am in love with Trello. I've been using it for 8 years, but actually I'm only using it for about 4 months, but I'm in love. So I realize that this is the place how you can definitely be. So if you're working on the computer, use Chrome browser and get yourself a Trello add-on, open a free account. When you have that idea, you can just click on this icon and straight away create a new card, maybe in content inspiration, and just type it there, or even copy that comment that you left and type it there. Then when you have that time that you allocate to creating content, you go to that Trello board. There is so much that you can do from that. You know that everything, like I've been published in Addicted to Success and Influencer, every article starts as a comment or a post. I never just sit down and write for these publications. It's always from somewhere. So always see everything strategically. Everything you produce is content, and value it and save it, because that will help you when you're hiding.
Save the value that you create.
I use Evernote for that, because Evernote I can do audio as well.
Yeah, I have it. Evernote, maybe in another 6 years, it will open up for me. Like this seems to be the trend. But yes, if you like Evernote, again, you know, the browser, it's brilliant because you take snapshots of pages and everything as well. So, you know, even more. But just not overwhelmed.
Awesome, Juliette. Well, why don't you take a minute and share with everybody, that was such an amazing tip. Share with everybody where they can find out more about you, what you have going on right now. And I know that they would love to do that.
Oh, guys, I have something, and it's funny how the whole subject and my story started with the 30-day live video challenge. Well, I have my own live video challenge. It's not 30 days, not as long. It's a transformational 11-day live video challenge. I'm going to stress that it's 11 days, and 11 represents the pathway to a new state of being, to new world, new era. So I'm starting one on the 2nd of September. I know there's still, 3.5 weeks, but if you want to find out more, just go to fearlessclientattraction.com and have a look in the menu. The link is in the menu. It's too long to be just saying it. Nobody will remember. But fearlessclientattraction.com is where you can sign up to the challenge. And we're starting on the 2nd of September. And you never know what sort of dreams it can start making true for you.
Absolutely. And we are going to make sure to have that link in the description of this video for you, or the audio. If you're listening on podcast, we'll have the link there for you, and also on the website, and we'll have it in the comments of our Facebook Live as well. Juliette, thanks so much for coming on and sharing a little bit of your story with us, and so many good tips for business owners. We're so thankful that you were with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor.
All right, we are going to see Juliette next time, and we are going to discuss for just a few minutes our takeaways from Juliette's story. Juliette gave so many amazing tips for people who are using Facebook in their business, or maybe you're not using Facebook in your business, and maybe now you know you should. It's a great way to reach out and create relationships with people. I know that for me, like I juggle a lot around here, and it took me a long time to really commit to what I wanted to do in my business, because I thought, well, at any minute somebody's going to interrupt me or something's going to happen, and it's just no point in me doing it. I had to do what she said, which was to just jump and just do it, and stop sort of getting out of comparison and feeling sorry for myself and all the things that were happening. How have you guys been with visibility in your businesses?
Okay, for me personally, so just recently I made a decision, which is ironic that this is the show that I'm on, to actually come off of Facebook right now, because I'm falling down the trap of what she was saying, where you go on for one little post, you do whatever, 25, 35, 45 minutes later, you're like, what was I in here for? And yeah, so I found myself, there was one particular day where I was like, no, for it. So I've actually stepped back from Facebook, and I'm, seeing more of what I actually want to do. And there's certain groups that I actually ended up taking and putting to my home screen on my phone. And those are the only places that I go into now, because I can fall down that Facebook rabbit hole forevermore. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
I know about that Facebook rabbit hole.
Yes.
Tarah, do you like the Facebook rabbit hole?
I don't typically, it depends. It really depends, but I'm not really a scroller. I'm more specific with what I'm looking at. But I don't know. I find it like I'm on Facebook, and yes, in regards to business stuff, but I don't get lost in the scrolling trap. I have other go-tos than that.
I mean, we all have our things, right? I feel like everybody has something that they can waste time, going down and exploring all the things in one area or another. So I think if it's not Facebook, so everybody's got something. What's your thing, Allan? That's what I want to know.
Well, there are two things. There are two things that I'm focusing on now. One of them is resulted in meeting all of you. 6 months ago, I looked at my 4,000 members and friends, and I saw I don't have any friends. 4,000 friends are not friends. So what do I want to do here? Do I want to waste my time? So I said, I'm going to put into practice what I teach, which is communication. So I began to take a more personal approach, where I added people, requested to connect with them who shared mutual friends. And I would say, great to connect, Tarah. Great to connect, Heather. Great to connect, Jessica. And those that responded to me, they said, hi, Allan. And then I would press my little button and I would do an audio, like you probably remember. And I said, great to connect. I'm just connecting with like-minded people on Facebook to see how we can mutually help each other, or simply connect. I'm a former Zen monk, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to chat, love to know more about you.
Right.
Many of them would come back before you know it, we're on Zoom. That's how I met all of you, which has resulted in so much else, because I'm not really big on going get 200 likes. That might not mean a lot anyway. They might be bored people that are on the line all day. I don't know. Right. But I can say this, the takeaway that I got from this is that I'm going to continue to focus now on video production, do what I do best. And then I'm going to find some help from someone to manage my Facebook ads or whatever else I do. I'm not going to do all of it. It'll drive me crazy.
Right. And I started doing that recently too, where I have been, and anybody who's gotten one of these from me lately will know, like I was going down my friends list recently too, and was just like, I haven't talked to these people and I need to do that. And I ended up, one of the calls that I had on, Tuesday morning actually was a friend of mine that I haven't seen her face to face in 18 years. We went to school together, and we were on Zoom having, her son came in. It was so cool to see like a little her, and she got to see a little me come in, and it was just fun to have that connection. And then other people meeting for business as well, same thing. It was like, I'm not even talking to these people. So it's been a fun thing to reach out like that. So,
well, and the other thing is like what Juliette was saying was going into the groups that you love doing. What I've done in groups that I've been in is been like, hey guys, seriously, no sales pitch, no nothing. I just want a coffee chat with you, just to get to know people. And you'd be surprised at how many people actually just want to chat and just want to, connect that way, because that's what it's about. It's the actual true connection that people are missing when they come into this online space.
I did this 2 days ago. I add 10 people a day. I take off 10 people. I remove 10 friends, the ones that never responded to my great to connect, and Tarah, and then Tarah never gets back to me. I'm just going to cut her right out.
He's cutthroat, man.
And this morning I had an hour-long meeting with a wonderful woman from Texas, Nancy, who I connected with 2 days ago. Now she wants to sign up to be one of my certified coaches. That comes from me connecting on Facebook like that. Yeah,
but that's any social media platform. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Facebook, that's even in person too. Like connecting people with people on their level, on your level, like find something that you guys can talk about. That's awesome. That's where the motivation comes in.
Yeah,
that's right. I brought that back in.
Well, that's what we do. We bring the motivation back. And I think that you have to have, bringing it back to that motivation, you have to be motivated about your business enough to understand the importance of that connection with people. And I think that so many forget that. Juliette was talking about, when you friend someone on Facebook, like make conversation, like don't just jump right into I have literally, since the premiere of the episode, I had gotten so many friends requests. So hi, new friends. It's nice to see you guys today. But there are few that literally the first message that I got is this whole long-winded thing about, do you want to work together? I don't even know you. Who are you? Hello, it's nice.
Or the ones that friend you and then you're like, hey, like my page, or like. Yeah.
Oh yes, I love that too. That's
my product.
Yeah, those are fun.
Hi, nice to meet you. Do you want to buy this?
By the way, everyone watching, that is not how you do it.
Yes. Don't message me.
I don't even know what you're feeling.
Like messaging me asking if I want to be a business partner. I just know what your name is. That's all. And is it really your name? Because you could make up any name you want on Facebook.
It's exactly like going to a party. If there's 100 people and you walk up to someone, within 2 minutes, you recognize you don't have anything in common with this person. You just move on. But if you do that, and the other thing that take away from today, which is really important, it's always been a bit of a challenge for me, is we got to have consistency.
Right.
You got to have the discipline to keep doing it on a consistent basis. And I think a lot of people fall short with that.
I agree. So consistency is an amazing takeaway from the show today. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I'm cracking up right now because we have a little chat. I'm cracking up inside. I have a little chat in our green room here, and Heather's BYOC membership, BYOC for consistency. So bring your own consistency every day to your business. That's a big takeaway from the show. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. You guys have been so much fun in the comments. I've been watching everybody coming through. Shoshana was here, Lori was here, Jeremy, Genevieve, Siri, Crystal. So many people are, I know I'm missing people. I'm sorry. I will get you next time. So thank you guys all for joining us, for chiming in, and we have survived the second episode of the show. So thank you so much to our fabulous panelists today, Heather Clark, our declutter coach and consultant, Allan Knight, our former Zen monk turned communication coach, and our fabulous, always juicy, Tarah Abram. She is our soul purpose coach. Thank the three of you for being here today. And also a big thank you to our amazing guest, Juliette Stapleton. You can find her at juliettestapleton.com. And also her links are in the comments of the video, as well as the description, whether you are watching on video replay or podcast replay. I want to give another special thank you to our sponsors, patrons, and broadcast partners for this episode. Special thanks to our business patron, Philip Dugas at Kia of Auburn. For all your vehicle needs in the Southeast United States, visit kiaofauburn.com. Up next week on the show, we have our next amazing guest of the season, Chris Burns. He's going to be talking about empowered responsibility. Have you guys ever seen the 12-hour marathon podcast? Has anybody seen that on Wednesdays on Facebook? Chris does a 12-hour marathon every Wednesday. How he doesn't completely burn out Chris Burns, I don't know. Do you see what I did there? But we are so excited to have his amazing energy on the show next week. Plus, we've got our hot topics, our roundtable discussion, and so much more. I want to thank everybody again for being with us today. I'm Jessica Dugas, your host, and we'll see you next time on another episode of The Breakthrough.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Breakthrough. Please visit our website at www.thebreakthroughshow.com. And be sure to join our After the Breakthrough community powered by Patreon. We look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place for another inspiring episode.